Ayo, Dynasty with Bindles. We are here Friday night. Got some free time. So let's talk some Dynasty buys. And if we have time, we'll talk some Dynasty sells as well. It'll kind of be all mixed together. But yeah, if you're not already liked, subscribed, we got Dynasty content. We got my show Ballsy with Chris the Candyman on Monday nights. We have Neil Orfield coming on Monday. So make sure, like I said, to like, subscribe, turn that bell on, and we have a whole hot best ball / dynasty summer of content coming. So let's hit the intro. All right, everyone. I hope you all had a good week. It was a busy one for me, but you know me, I'm always down to talk some dynasty. And I really want to talk about mainly guys who I just feel like are mispriced, whether it's age, whether it's kind of just some stink from last season. I kind of want to start off with, yeah, I think a lot of times we should be doing this in like a best ball sense, but someone has a bad end of the season, we that's the last thing we see, and we kind of take that into the next season when we really want to be focusing on the whole breadth of their careers, um, their underlying metrics, kind of all of that, instead of just what happened the last 8 games of last season. Because coaching changes, just players get older, situation changes, but we really want to be betting on the talents and kind of the overall uh, talent of the player, and then also layer in the team structure, the coaching kind of stuff, context around that. So yeah, saying with that said, the first player I want to cover is Dak Prescott. And he is kind of, I think Jacob Sanderson was the one who kind of coined it, but it's like the Dak cycle, where he will have a year where he's kind of hitting his stride. We've seen him hit 5,000 passing yards before in a season and come close a few other times to that. And then last year he was obviously injured. And he's older. He's 32. I don't think in Dynasty I really care that much unless the guy's like 37, 38, like could retire at any moment. So yeah, I think Dak is a pretty crazy value right now. He's going next to Michael Penix, who, I mean, I know there are a lot of Michael Penix believers, but he's 25 years old. He started 3 games last year. He looked okay. He had his flashes. And the offense does look like it should be competent, but I mean, we haven't seen anything from him. So I mean, in my mind, if you're on a contending roster, and really any roster, in my opinion, if you can swap a Penix for a Dak Prescott, I'm doing that in a heartbeat. The right, as you see, quick caveat: this is a fantasy calc. Why are we using fantasy calc? What is the reasoning behind that? So fantasy calc takes real trades and then assigns players based on real trades, player values based on real trades. So it's a little bit different than like a KTC or something like that, where it's kind of just people randomly saying, oh, I like this player over this player. This at least has some data behind it. And I really just think it's yeah, I'm in 60 leagues. So a lot of the time I have my own rankings. I have my own kind of takes. I'm in enough leagues where I kind of know the market to some extent. It's a little bit harder in season, or, when there's not startups going on, then it's a little bit harder. Another one you can use is Dynasty Data Lab, created by Adico. So yeah, I can put that in the chat as well. But these are just some good resources to kind of, where is the market at on with these players? And so yeah, you always want to check yourself, right? Like obviously you can have player takes. I have player takes where you can be above or below market on players, but you always like if the market has for say let's just say CJ Stroud, um, where I think he's overvalued. I mean he could jump up, but and there's reasons why he's valued here up next to Herbert, next to Drake May. He's right in that range. But yeah, like right, if that's where the market quotes market, obviously each league is different, but if that's where the market is valuing him, then you should be trying to get a plus on top. Like if you just think, hey, JJ McCarthy is just going to have, I value him higher than CJ Stroud because he's in a perfect system in Minnesota. He's still young. He has upside to move up into the second round or whatever if he has a good year. Okay. But don't just trade CJ Stroud for JJ McCarthy straight up. You can get a significant plus. We see CJ Stroud here at 49.09 and we see JJ McCarthy here at 41. So you can probably get, I mean, I don't know, you might be able to get a first on top or a second or something like that. So yeah, you don't want to just be giving away free value, right? Like just free money that you can take that second and swap them for a running back in season. You can use it to, kind of trade up into another better piece that you want. You can use it for depth, just more ammo to deal with, which on any team is very valuable. So yeah, back to Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is 31.9. So it'll be 32. For quarterbacks, do we really care about age? Like I said, not particularly outside of them being 37, 38, even 40 now. We see quarterbacks play into their 40s. Don't really care about age at quarterback. Really more care about production. And then are they going to start the next 2 years, 3 years? That's really all I care about, which Dak is going to do both of those. And then, so yeah, he's down valued here next to Michael Penix, next to Bryce Young, right above a Jackson Dardish range. Not so those guys I would all swap straight up for Dak Prescott, pretty much any roster, just because we've seen Dak. If he has a good season, he was, 1-2 turn pick when he was cooking 2 years ago in 2023 with over 5,000 yards, finished as the QB3, I believe. In 6-point passing touchdown leagues, he was scoring around like 24, 23 points per game, which is pretty crazy for a guy that's a pocket passer. So Dak, he's very talented. I think he has the best situation he's had in terms of pass catchers in his career. CeeDee Lamb, they bring in George Pickens. So that kind of alpha receiver and CeeDee Lamb could catch 120 balls. And then we have George Pickens, who can kind of capitalize off of all the attention that CeeDee Lamb gets. And then, Jake Ferguson, Jalen Tolbert, not great, but they're competent. They're average players, and their O-line should be around average, right? Not absolutely terrible. It's not going to tank them. Brian Schottenheimer, I don't think he's an amazing head coach, but he was a part of the teams where Dak had that big blow up year 2 years ago where CeeDee Lamb absolutely cooked. So I'm not too worried about that. Like, I think they have some level of consistency in them. And then the running game is going to be non-existent. Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, Jaden Blue, that's not a running back room that you're going to lean on. So the pass volume is going to be absolutely astronomical. I think they could challenge for with the Bengals for number one in kind of the pass rate over expectation, whatever metric you want to use. They're going to have a lot of pass attempts. It's going to be more than 600, could be 650, something crazy like that. So yeah, like he's valued, I think he goes in like the 6-ish round, 5th round, and I think he's significantly undervalued right now. There's just stink on him from last season, kind of the link. He's had injuries kind of every other year. I have a huge bag of him in Dynasty, I think around 25%. And he just, I mean, he can be your QB1, right? Like if he's scoring 23, 24 points per game, that's great, right? Like that's that's more than a lot of the Konami guys are going to score. That's more than, right, Kyler Murray has scored at pretty much outside of one year. So it's pretty crazy. So we got best ball on call in here. We got Texas politics. So we have a few more here that I'm gonna have to go through quickly because I actually just heard something that I wasn't expecting. Texas politics says I still got 6 dynasty leagues, but best ball, yeah, it's tough to balance the two. I mean, I also I can't draft best ball teams unless I'm on stream with someone else, so that also plays into my love for dynasty. So yeah, let's go run through these quickly. Justin Fields, I said recently on my Ballsy stream, I think he could challenge for top 5 in points per game. I think it's very much in the range of outcomes with his running, and he's not going to pass a ton, but I think the combination of Garrett Wilson, just alpha wide receiver, the rushing he could get 1,000 yards pretty easily. Huge buy. We see him ranked right here next to Bryce Young as well, right below Dak Prescott. I still lean Dak Prescott just because I don't really care about the age, but you can make a case for either one of them. And then Geno Smith, perennially kind of underrated, had a weird year last year because just not a great offensive line there. I think he really raised kind of the floor of the Seahawks. He had 2 years ago where he had finished as a QB6. I think he's set up so well with Brock Bowers, with Jacoby Myers, with Jack Besh, with Ashton Genty, with a pretty solid O-line. Not amazing, but okay. Here down at quarterback 28, like he could easily outperform that. Not even a question. So that's pretty big buy here as your QB2 or QB3. You can get them, for probably about a late second value. We see Tyler Shuck, Jalen Milrow value near him. Those guys, they could score. You know what I mean? Milrow, if he gets on the field, could score well, but Geno 34.7, so the age comes in there. But once again, like he's going to be starting for at least 2 or 3 years. Going to give you up to probably, I mean, he finished QB6. I don't think that'll happen again, but back end QB1, high QB2 production for his cost, pretty crazy. And then let's quickly go through some of the receivers. I'll just give a quick, TLDR on kind of why I'm in on them. Davante Adams, he is about a late second value or about a mid-second value right now. Obviously, people are scared off because of the age, but I mean, he's going next to similar to guys like Ricky Pearsall, Trey Harris, Jaden Higgins, where those guys have the value edge on him where they could shoot up in value more, obviously because Davante is 32. But I mean, Davante is set up so well with Matthew Stafford, who another quarterback I like late, not as much as Geno, but I think they go right next to each other. Pick your poison there. But yeah, Davante, right? He's in kind of this. Stafford is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC. Great situation, can play off of and with Puka Nacua. Great coach, great quarterback. He's older, but he can still sling it. He's been the absolute kingmaker. So yeah, if you have any sort of contending roster, go get Davante Adams. I have a huge bag. One of my most rostered players in Dynasty. Josh Downs, wide receiver 45. Come on, guys. What are we doing here? It was Josh Downs day on Twitter a couple days ago, but I think he's going to rise up into like the 70s in best ball now that Daniel Jones is more likely to start, maybe not, if not the whole season, at least the majority of the games. I think people are coming to around to, his yards per out run, his targets per out run. He's not in a full-time role, but I still think the talent is just so immense. Wide receiver 45 is just absurd. So go move some of these guys. You see Cortland Sutton, Chris Godwin, Keon Coleman, even a Mike Evans if you want to get a little bit younger there. I think that's pretty wild price there. And then I'll lump in Michael Pittman as well. He's a little bit cheaper, and I don't love him as much, but I think you can get him for scraps right now. And I think you want to be betting on players that have shown they're talented. Michael Pittman fell off, but he was, he did have a back injury all of last year. That's pretty rough. And then another one of my guys, Jayden Reed. Just shout out to you guys. If you guys want engagement on Twitter, just tweet about Jayden Reed. The algo will pick it up. I had a tweet that hit 100K views. That was Jameson Williams and Jayden Reed tweet. So yeah, pro tip there. But yeah, Jayden Reed. Quick summary. Packers offense was super run heavy last year. They're not going to be that run heavy again. They might be close. They'll probably be closer to probably 15th in the league, 16th in the league, middle of the pack in terms of pass rate and everything. Jordan Love was injured, right? He got injured in that first game, came back, wasn't ever the same. They kind of wanted to lean on the running game with Josh Jacobs. And then Jayden Reed was also hurt. He was in and out of the lineup. You could say, okay, well, he's just injury prone, but I don't want to necessarily say that. And then the other argument against him is kind of Matthew Golden. Well, Matthew Golden is pretty much going to be in the Christian Watson role. So if it's pretty much the same, and we don't necessarily, I like Golden, not my favorite guy, but I like him, especially in best ball. But yeah, Jayden Reed doesn't need to run all the routes. He scored on 1 out of every 10 touches in his career so far. So it's a bet on the offense, right? They're going to regress back more to the mean, to the league average-ish passing rate. We trust the coaching staff. We think they're going to score a good amount of points, and it's not like he has a Puka Nacua or Davante Adams or anything like that. Kind of keeping him. So he's not going to get right. He's not going to run all the routes. He's not going to, he's more of an efficiency based play, but where he's going right now, right? Like close to Cortland Sutton, close to Chris Godwin, like at some point after like week 6 last year, he was shooting up the rankings. So I just think it's both these guys, Josh Downs, Jayden Reed. You bet on the talent and you let everything else play out. They're still young. Josh Downs, 23.9, Jayden Reed, 25, right? Like those are still guys, either talent. Both of them have talent. Jayden Reed has the good offense, scored 1 out of every 10 touches in his career. Pretty crazy. And then I'll give one more. I do have to get out of here quicker than I thought I was going to have to. So my apologies for the shorter stream. But it's okay. We're still here. It's Darnell Mooney. So shout out to Fantasy Football Garage, my co-host on Monday nights. He is going way down here. He's not even on this page. But you can get him for, you might be able to get him for a couple thirds, late 2. Atlanta passing game, I'm not as crazy into Penix, but it should be competent. Mooney is going, he's moving up in best ball into the early 80s range, and he's just so cheap, especially in Dynasty when you just need a flex filler. He's the perfect piece there. And then I'll give you one tight end here who I think is just criminally undervalued in all formats. David Njoku, tight end 15. That's just crazy, guys. He's going in the 130s in best ball. It's just because we don't know who the quarterback is. There's kind of that lingering just stink around the Browns. They're going to be a bad team. But anytime he's been on the field with not Deshaun Watson, he's been a top 5 tight end in points per game. The Browns stink is just on him. Go and draft him in best ball. Go and buy him in Dynasty. He's way, way, way undervalued. If you can sell like a Laporta for Njoku and a 1, or Njoku and another player you like on top, absolutely do that. So yeah, that's going to be it, guys. I do have to get out of here quicker than I thought. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, join the Discord down below. The link is in the bio. We got the QR code there. So if you want to join, we have around 75 ball knowers in there, including some big names around the space. So make sure to join. and we will see you Monday night at 9:30 Eastern time with Neil Orfield and Fantasy Football Garage on Ballsy. See you next time, guys.